Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my oh my. Today, before we start, I would wish to take up a challenge of fixing this Rubik's Cube because it's connected to what we want to talk about within 2 minutes. So allow me 2 minutes of me not talking so that I'm able to concentrate on what I'm about to do. Thank you.
Mungu wetu, ubakaji umekithiri, ugaidi kakita mizizi, ufisadi na unyanyasaji, dunia nzima imepotoka. Mungu wangu nisaidie, nimalize safari yangu, ili nifike juu mbinguni. Tazama dunia yetu, matatizo yametujaza, magonjwa yasiyo na dawa, kama ukimwi yatumaliza.
Fixed. And now welcome to the My Oh My, the show that brings you as it is, in black and white or in no color at all, as long as we bring it to you at the end of the day as we have been inspired to do. As you've always known, from me to you, I come with love, but I come with strictness, I come with objectivity, and I come with facts and reality. It has been the A to Z of life. We did A for alive, we did B for breathing, we did C for consistency, we did D for determination, we did part A and B of excellence, and we did F for family. And I know that you've been waiting for G, but indulge me, today I'll not come to you with G. I'll come to you with a different thing altogether, and G will drop in 3 days immediately after this video. 3 days you're going to have G, and you can guess what G is going to be about. Today I want to indulge you, and I want us to have a conversation that no one seems to want to have. The conversation about the discipline of our young people, the discipline of our high school students. You are a parent, you are a guardian, you are a well-wisher, you are a sponsor, you're a person of interest, you are a church leader, you are a youth leader, you are a political leader, whatever it is that you are in the society, this is a conversation that we definitely must have. This is a conversation that you and I cannot afford to run away from because it is real. The discipline of our young people. I'm your host as always, Meshach Omhaka Mkenya. Let us have this heavy and tough conversation. Over the last few days, over the last few weeks, we have had this country put at hostage by our young people. We have seen young people wake up in the morning and demand that they cannot do exams, and nothing was done. Indeed, they were allowed not to do exams. We have seen young people wake up and decide that they are going home and casually telling the principals and their teachers that they will communicate to them via Skype, via Zoom, or other online platforms, so that they agree to disagree on when exactly these students would want to come back to school. We have seen in dismay students burning schools, burning dormitories, burning property of a lot of value. And I remember a colleague of mine who schooled in one of these schools that were affected, who was very bitter, saying that as an old boy, he is feeling disheartened that the young people in this school would have the audacity of burning down the dormitory, yet he, as a student, remembers walking around with a proforma to collect funds so that they construct that dormitory. And now young people will just wake up and bring down this dormitory just as such, in a very casual way. And then I wonder, how is it that we ended up that the Ministry of Education would be put hostage by young people, by children, people who have not attained the legal age of 18? How would these people put a whole country in hostage? That a term that initially did not have a half term now gets to have a half term. At a term that initially was supposed to end on 23rd, people were forced to close 2 weeks earlier in a term that had 14 weeks. Let me explain to you exactly the kind of mess that we are in. This second term of the messed up academic year 2021 was supposed to have 14 weeks. That's the number of weeks that a second term is supposed to have. We reduced that because of the corona pandemic. We reduced that to about 10 weeks. Now, when you reduce that to 10 weeks, your parents, many of you don't release your children to come to school on week 1. And so take week 1 out. And so we don't have week 1. We are remaining with 9 weeks to do syllabus coverage, to teach your children. 9 weeks is what we remained with. And your children came and said they do not want to be in school. They started giving demands that I'm still in shock that people decided to honor. And they said, wamesema kwamba hawataki kuketi shuleni. They don't want to be in school. Let them go home. And so kids were allowed to go home for half term. And so they left. Do you know what happens within that 1 week that kids are supposed to go home, even if they are to leave on Friday? The objectivity, very minimal work happens between Monday and Friday. Because now we have to run up and down and ensure that your children have fare and so on and so forth. And so 1 week was lost. We remained with 9. There's a week hapa katikati ambayo is being lost. We are remaining with 8, correct? And they were to report back. Did they report back on day 1? They didn't. And then there was the school fee issues. Many of them had to be sent back home for fee and blah, 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 blah. Take another 1 week. We are remaining with 7 weeks. And then we had to give exams. We had to actually administer exams and teach them and mark them and so on and so forth. So take 2 weeks out of the 7. You're remaining with 5 weeks. And then we closed a week earlier. We remained with 4 weeks. The contact hours, the syllabus coverage contact hours between teachers and your children, this term has been 4 weeks. A paltry 4 weeks. A paltry 4 weeks. We are now at home. They are now at home with you. I would want to know exactly what they are doing with you at home. What businesses are these that they wanted to achieve and so on and so forth. But today, I think I want to have this conversation from a different angle. And so I am going to call to order specific stakeholders in a manner, or rather in a bid, to try and see whether we can help our young people, whom we have continued to dub the leaders of tomorrow. And whenever I remember that these people are the leaders of tomorrow, my heart bleeds because I wonder what kind of leaders would they be? I wonder whether you're concerned. What kind of church leaders are they likely to be? What kind of political leaders are they likely to be? What kind of corporate leaders are they likely to be? What kind of basic societal leaders are they likely to be? And so I'll start from the top, then we will finish at the very basic. At the very top, I will talk about the other stakeholders. And in the other stakeholders, I want to call to order the churches. Many of our schools are church-sponsored. I call us to order as the church, and I know when I speak as the church, I would also feature in there because I am a chaplain in a school. As I call the church to order, I challenge us to take back objective spirituality back to our institutions of learning. And I know for a fact that many people attribute the salvation that they would celebrate today to the days when they were students. Personally, I gave my life to Christ on the 12th day of September, the year of the Lord 2008, not 2018, 2008. I was informed too. I remember the Right Reverend Dr. Joseph Otieno Wasonga came with a team from Maseno West Diocese, and they preached, I remember very clearly, in Romans chapter number 12, verse 1 and 2, do not be conformed therefore to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. And I discovered that I was conforming, I was not being renewed, and I decided to give my life to Christ. That's not the point. The point is, we need to we need to go back to having objective spirituality in our institutions of learning. Can we take real gospel back to schools? We have done a lot of politics. We have done enough politics with the spirituality of our schools. The moment we get to a position where we want to allow a lot of liberalism in our schools, then you are likely to miss it. That now I know for a fact that we have institutions that have allowed atheism to actually thrive. So that this child is an atheist and they are not so okay with attending the school service, and so they will not attend the school service because they are atheists, and we are okay with that. Or this person ascribes to a different denomination or a different religion, and so because of that, we will not allow them to, let them just do their thing and let them be aside. Blessed is a nation whose God is Jehovah. Blessed is a school whose God is Jehovah. I am not into religion. I am into objective spirituality. When last did you as a church leader visit a school and actually talked to the students? When did you actually last visit a school and preached an objective sermon, not these exciting sermons that we like doing these days, going to scare people with Illuminati and stuff? Talk to these students about real issues. Let us take objective, that's why I'm saying objective spirituality, back to our institutions of learning. Let us go back to our institutions of learning and preach to our students about sexuality. Let us preach to our students about drug and substance abuse. Let us preach to our students about the effects of social media, both positive and negative. Let us preach to our students about academic excellence. Let us preach to our students about the power of the cross and the crucifixion and, the salvation by the blood of Jesus Christ. Let us take back objective spirituality to our institutions of learning and stop politicizing spirituality in our high schools. We have done that as a church, and I know that you who is listening to me, you know that I'm saying the truth, that we have politicized spirituality in our institutions. The aspects of politics in the larger church have continued to affect even our schools. The church has decided not to offer objective spirituality to schools, but instead to dictate the teachers who are being hired, to dictate who is going to be the principal of that school, to dictate who is going to be the bazaar of that school, to dictate who is going to be the cook in that school. That is what the church has decided now to be doing, instead of being focused categorically so on matters of pastoral care and offering pastoral guidance to our students and peradventure to our teachers and all the other members of staff. The church, I call us to order. Let us take back objective spirituality to our institutions of learning. Let us go back to the days when God was honored in our institutions of learning. Let us go back to the days when the sponsor church was actually sponsoring the school in matters of spirituality and not matters of administration. Let us go back to the days when we offered objective spirituality to our institutions of learning. The second stakeholder that I want to call to order are our organizations that are sponsoring various students to schools. In my station, besides being a chaplain, I happen to be in charge of the sponsored students. Sponsored students, more often than not, belong to what I call the OVCS, the orphans, the vulnerable, and the vulnerable children. The OVCs are a delicate group of students. They're a delicate group of children in our society. And I want to sincerely appreciate these organizations that get out of their way to ensure that we have guided, we have sponsored these people's education, and you get to visit these schools and you get to take reports and so on and so forth. I sincerely appreciate that. But I call you to order today that you need to do more than just paying your school fees. Could we do a structured mentorship program for our OVCs starting today? Our OVCs are going through a lot of challenges. Our OVCs are largely affected by HIV pandemic. Our OVCs are largely affected by drug and substance abuse. Our OVCs are largely affected by premarital sexual behavior. Our OVCs are largely affected by addiction to just various things. Our OVCs are largely affected by depression. And it's unfortunate that quite a number of organizations don't seem to appreciate that very fact. And so we don't seem to offer, objective guidance and mentorship to these young people insofar as these major challenges are concerned. I call us to order. Let us fix the Rubik's Cube. And so our organizations, our sponsors, and our well-wishers, it is not just about provision of basic necessities. It's not just about payment of school fees, but I think we need to take it a notch higher. And this would go even to our constituency development funds offices, the CDF. You do a lot of bursaries to our students, but could you start coming up with mentorship programs that are able to guide, especially the OVCs? To you, I'm calling you to order in regards to the OVCs, the orphans and the vulnerable children. It's important that we think about them. It is painful to see a child who is an OVC being involved in an indisciplined behavior to an extent of attempting or actually succeeding to ban an institution. Yet they are an OVC, because that one, to me, it boils down to quite a number of other issues. I would want to imagine that when someone comes from a vulnerable background, that alone should be challenging enough, should be push enough for them to be disciplined, for them to be focused with their studies, for them to just want to be good people and secure their future. And so when one is an OVC and they end up displaying some of these uncouth behavior, as I would call them, then to me it becomes an eye-opener to quite a number of things. It becomes a precursor to quite a number of other challenges that maybe we have not opened our eyes to. And so to you, I call you to order. I will not call the government to order. I sure will not call the government to order, because the government is doing exactly what the society has demanded they do. You parent who is complaining that the government and the Ministry of Education is a little bit too lenient, a little bit too complacent, remember, you might be the one who reported a teacher because they corrected your child. You remember when you refer to your child as your world and so on and so forth. I'm coming to that. And so because of that, I will not call the government to order, but I will call my colleague teachers to order. Dear teachers, let us come back to the calling. Teaching is not just a profession. Teaching is not just an opportunity for you to make money. Teaching is an opportunity to transform the society. Teaching is an opportunity to transform the generations of tomorrow. Teaching is an opportunity for you and I to mold a future. Dear teachers, especially the young teachers, let us come back to order. Let us come back to the call. Let us come back to the days when a teacher was genuinely and objectively concerned about the welfare of our students. Let us try and be parents to our children, to our students. Let us try and guide them. Let us try and mold them. In fact, let's not try. Let us mold them. Let us guide them. Let us actually pray for them. I attribute who I am today to a number of teachers in my life who always pushed me beyond the limit to tap the fullest of my potential. In the world of art, I attribute a teacher who picked me right from stage after performing, I don't remember that, some cultural creative dance. And I was all over with, the things that they would always apply on you. And she quickly tells me to wash up quickly and dress up in my full school uniform. And she tells me, you're going to do a public speaking, you'll have 5 minutes. And I get to the door and they're calling my name, and she just whispers, the topic is HIV and AIDS, and I walked in. And that is how my journey that year of public speaking picked up, and I went through to the nationals. Why? Because she believed in me. I would attribute my academic excellence to teachers who always believed that there was more that I could do. And they used to push me. They pushed me. I remember going to my CRE teacher, Madam Pamela Miumo, at a time that I thought I was one of the best students in CRE. We were having an academic day. And all other teachers had really reprimanded me. And I thought, Madam Miumo is going to be, excited. She was like, you're getting an A-, this is too little for you, you should get an A. She quarreled me more than the mathematics teacher who had quarreled me. In mathematics, I had a C plain or a D or thereabout. In CRE, I had an A-, and she pushed me to get the best that I could always get, not just in CRE, but in all other subjects. I wonder, where are those teachers today? Where are the teachers who are concerned about the messed up Rubik's Cube and would always want to fix the Rubik's Cube? You who is a teacher, you know for a fact that you are a teacher because there is a teacher who believed in you. You are a teacher because there is someone who decided to tap in your potential and push you and squeeze the very best out of you. What has happened to us? What has happened to this noble profession today? That students would actually wake up and tell you that they are going home, and we all agree that they are going home. And we just sit. And we feel nice when that news is spreading around. I would be so disturbed if at all I was a teacher of a school where students just woke up and said they are going home. And they actually left and went home. And we excitedly talk about it and say how peaceful that was. They went home peacefully. And when you try to talk to some of us about it, we are quick to say, hey, you have to be careful and so on and so forth. Before we get to the point of being careful, why were we careless in the first place? Exactly why were we careless? Teachers. Our profession is not an easy profession. It demands that we fix the Rubik's Cube. Let us fix the Rubik's Cube. To the core of the problem, dear parents and guardians, I will deliberately not talk to the young people. I'll not talk to the actual high school students. I'm choosing not to talk to them. You who is a parent, you who is a guardian, I am going to be harsh. I know that this boy is your only child. Does that warrant you spoiling their future? Does that warrant you carelessly quarreling teachers? Embarrassing teachers because this is your only child, And you would always come to schools and say, huyu mwalimu anijui, anaenda kunitambua. Huyu mwalimu atanijua. Let me tell you something, dear parent. Let me explain something in perspective. A teacher, at most given times, let's say at an extra county school, a class teacher is a parent to about 80. Myself, I'm a class teacher to 80 students. Before you come to tell a teacher how they do not know parenting, please remember, old or young, they are able to take care of the psychosocial and spiritual and academic and to a given extent economic needs of 80 of your children before you get too excited about your one. Parents, we have destroyed this generation enough. It's time that we started mending. Tumeharibu vya kutosha wazazi. Tumeharibu vya kutosha. Dear parents, I call you to order. I know that you are a Western parent. I know that you are a civilized parent. I know that in your world you think that punishing a child is traumatizing to the child. I know that some of you have deliberately or otherwise decided to purport that you cannot punish your child because if you punish your child, then they are going to be traumatized. And I know there are some of you who have even forged letters, medical reports, purporting that your child has this unique medical condition that cannot allow them to even do manual work. I know you have lied to us about that. You have lied to us. And you get excited that you've lied to us. Dear parent, you're not lying to us, you're lying to yourself. I am expected to be with your child for a period of 4 years. You're expected to be with them for the rest of their life. You're lying to your child. Stop lying to your child. When your Form 1 student is in an illicit romantic relationship and you are excited about it and you're so peaceful about it and you say, ako adolescent anapitia maneno kama hayo. Refuse to condone that kind of behavior from your child. That your child will just come back home. I am tempted to wonder, parents to these children who left school and just went home, wakati watoto wenyu walipofika nyumbani mwenyu, mulifanya nini? You who is a parent, what exactly did you do? You know, our society is so messed up. The other day, someone was punishing their daughter because their daughter had been expelled from school because she had attempted to burn the school. This father was punishing his daughter. But all of you netizens had an issue. You were so angry and furious with that father, and I wondered, shida yenu iko wapi? Mnaingilia wapi kwa hiyo maneno? Mtoto si wenyu. This father is punishing his own daughter. You know, I'm wondering how I would ever go back home to my uncles. Kwamba nimeenda nikaingia kwa nyumba ya my uncle Lazik. Nikaambia, hi uncle, I've come back home, nimechoma shule. Mama yangu, what exactly would have happened? Ningekuwa marehemu mimi. When you see people glowing out here, we did not just emanate and appear from the blues. We were squeezed to become what we are. When you are pampering a young man, when you are pampering a young girl, and you expect that you're going to tap anything substantial from them, how serious are you exactly, dear parent? I am furious and I am not happy with you. I am not happy with a parent who is ready to defend the mischievous acts of their children. I am not happy with a parent who is ready to come and face teachers and abuse teachers and be very careless with their talk before teachers and embarrass them and claim how you are connected and how you can take people to court and so on and so forth. Dear parent, if you can take us to court, kindly stay with your child back at home and teach them. Do not bring us an indisciplined child, a child who does not know how to respect teachers, a child who does not know how to respect people's property, a child who does not know how to respect people's programs, a child who does not understand the policies and the directives of an institution. You bring us that kind of a child, and then the child causes issues, and then we call you to come and take this child, then you're telling us they're going to take us to court. Stay with your child at home and teach them at home. Just stay with your child, because you are making some of us tired. Tunachoshwa na mambo yenyu, tunachoshwa na haya maisha ambapo mzazi ndio hataki kushughulikia mtoto wake. You do not even know your children. Your children have phones, you do not even have an idea. You have no idea that your child actually has a phone. Some of you have no idea that your children are drinking. Some of you have no idea that your children are going to funny parties around here. Some of you have no idea that your children are actually having a lot of careless sex. You have no idea, absolutely no idea. You want to insist that your child is an angel. That I have a nice child, my child ni mtoto mzuri, nimekalea vizuri, mwalimu usiniambie wewe hujui mtoto wangu, mimi najua mtoto wangu. And you want to imagine that I will just pick on your child for no reason? Dear parents, let's be serious. Let's be focused. I call you to order. To the church, objective spirituality back to schools. To the people who are supporting our OVCs, objective mentorship to those OVCs. To the teachers, let's go back to the calling. To the parents and guardians, you have messed up enough. You need to fix your homes. Fix your children. Fix your mentalities. Fix yourself. Fix yourself. To all of us, our high school students are a Rubik's Cube that needs to be fixed. I took 2 minutes of silence to fix my Rubik's Cube. I hope you all can take a moment of silence and fix the Rubik's Cube. because the generation of tomorrow, trust you me, it's in limbo. I've been your host, Meshach Omhaka Mkenya. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Meshach Omhaka Mkenya. It's always nice to be with you.